Ubisoft. That's a good old throwback to Jim Sterling, who I believe goes by Stephanie now. I'm not really sure. But, anyways, good old Ubislop, as I like to call them, has been going down the freight train of making really boneheaded decisions. Uh, this includes one that actually pisses me off, which we're going to get to here. The Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, which is a game I was really looking forward to, has been canceled. We also have layoffs, of course, which I've already talked to you guys about some of the layoffs involving Ubisoft Halifax. Apparently, they have also shut down Ubisoft Stockholm. And there's other various layoffs involved as well. So let's go ahead and read this story. This is from Variety. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I don't want to be that guy. But apparently, this game, along with 5 other games, have been canceled by good old Ubislop. It doesn't specify what the other games are, but from what I understand, there was a mobile title and 3 other titles, and then there's like a mystery title that I don't think there's really any information about. They're doing like a restructuring at the company. This is, of course, spawned by the fact that Ubisoft has been having a lot of trouble financially, namely because they've been putting out a lot of shitty games. Let's be real here, guys. Remember good old what was that game called? The quadruple A game. The pirate one. I forget what the name even is. It's such a game that they hyped up and developed for like 15 years, and it ended up being a turd. And they lost like hundreds of millions of dollars on this game. Gosh, I really can't think of the name of it. Maybe you guys can sound off on the comments and remind me. And then of course there was what was that game? That really bad Call of Duty clone that they were trying to push. I forget what that was too, but it was like a free to play Call of Duty style game. It was like, X Defiant. Okay, I actually remember a game for once. So they canceled that as well because that game was trash and people didn't like it and people didn't buy the microtransactions. And so that game lost them a bunch of money too. And they ended up canceling that game as well. So they are doing a restructuring of the company. They are basically going down to 5 studios. And that's going to basically be Vantage Studios, which is going to be working on the largest Ubisoft established franchises, stuff like Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Rainbow Six. You know, the big dogs that are being supported here. Then they have the Creative House 2, which is going to be working on stuff like The Division, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, which I've heard rumors that one of those canceled games was a Splinter Cell game. I mean, come on. How difficult is it to create a stealth game like Splinter Cell that is widely regarded? People have been asking about it for many years. I mean, these were critically acclaimed games that generally sold very well, but Ubisoft apparently doesn't have an interest in making more of them for some reason. It's not because of issues regarding the Tom Clancy's license, because they still put out games with the Tom Clancy's license, like Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six, of course. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Creative House 3, responsible for games like For Honor, The Crew, Riders Republic, Brawlhalla. Oh, Skull and Bones. That's what it was. Skull and Bones. I knew it was a pirate game or whatever, but yeah. And then they also have Creative House 4 putting out games like Anno, Might and Magic, Rayman, Prince of Persia. Well, apparently not now. Beyond Good and Evil, which, of course, I'm sure one of those games that was canceled had to have been Beyond Good and Evil 2. I mean, that game had been in development hell for, I guess, when was that? E3 2008 that they showed the trailer. So that's like almost a 20-year project. And I mean, even though the original Beyond Good and Evil was a great game, it wasn't exactly like a barnstormer in terms of sales. Like it was like a moderately successful game at best. And then they have Creative House 5 doing their casual and family friendly games. That's stuff like Just Dance, Hungry Shark, which I never even heard of, Uno, of course, other stuff like that. So, yeah, this is the state of Ubisoft in 2026, who's put out a bunch of crap games. The sales have declined. The games typically go on sale just within weeks after launch because they don't sell enough units and they have to push units to please the shareholders. So they put these games on sale, which devalues the games in general. Most people know that Ubisoft games will go on sale within a couple of months of release because that's how they've operated over the past several years. They are intentionally devaluing the games by not putting out quality games that people will pay full price for. That's essentially what it boils down to. This even happened to games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which actually that was a pretty good Assassin's Creed game in my opinion from what I played of it. But was it worth paying full price for? No, not really. I mean, it was just pretty much like the same as all the other games for the most part, Other than a couple of little changes here or there, you would have had just as much fun playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which you can get on deep discount, as you would Assassin's Creed Shadows. So there really wasn't much of a point to buy that game unless you played all the other Assassin's Creed games, right? But I wanted to kind of have a look back at the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. We've got the YouTube trailer. This was from the original unveil of the game. This trailer was September 10th, 2020. So we're going to go ahead and have a look at it. And this was before the game got rebooted. We're going to take a look at it and you tell me what you think of the trailer. Okay.
Most people think time is like a river that flows swift and sure in one direction. But I have seen the face of time, and I can tell you, they are wrong.
Okay. So for anybody that's not aware, this trailer is actually a good throwback to the original trailer for Prince of Persia Sands of Time. So there is a lot of nods to that original trailer when they had first announced that game before it did eventually come out in 2003. So just something to keep in mind.
Inside the hourglass is a marvel no living man has ever seen. Only the dagger can unlock the sands of time.
No! Stop!
Okay. So one thing that people did complain about a lot originally whenever this trailer was first unveiled is there was a lot of criticism over the graphical quality that was presented here. This is part of the reason why Ubisoft had rebooted this project. Now, I'm going to show you something in a little bit here that actually is pretty interesting.
No! I saw my father turn to sand.
You cannot defeat this enemy. The sands will consume everything.
Come with me then. But I warn you, I move pretty fast. You'd better keep up.
Prince! The dagger! It can turn back time!
Okay, so for anybody that's never played Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, the original game back in 2003, this game was very revolutionary in terms of the way the game was played. Essentially, you had the time mechanic, the Sands of Time, as they referred to, which allowed you to basically rewind time. And this could be used in a lot of different ways. But because of the way that mechanic worked, in conjunction with tight platforming, excellent level design, um, combat that I guess some people weren't a huge fan of, but I really enjoyed the combat of, and just the general aesthetic and design of the game. It ended up being one of my favorite games from the PlayStation 2 generation, probably in the top 5, honestly. So, um, they of course made a couple of sequels and everything like that, but none of them really, in my opinion at least, hit the same level of quality that this particular game did. This is arguably one of Ubisoft's best games ever made. And when you think about this company nowadays and the kind of relative lack of quality they have nowadays, and you think back to the PlayStation 2 era and you look at the titles that Ubisoft was putting out back then, it makes you wonder what the hell happened. It makes you wonder what the hell happened during that period of time. Because this was a company that seemed like it was going to set the world on fire. And this game was just uh, one of many demonstrations that they had of that. Like, Ubisoft was legitimately one of my favorite game publishers. It seemed like they almost always put out really quality stuff. And now, well, let's just finish the trailer up.
Give me the dagger! Never!
I brought this on us.
You are brave and good.
You know, looking back at this here, looking back at this trailer now in 2026, seeing how it looks compared to my initial reaction to it, I think myself and a lot of fans may have judged this a little harshly. Now, it is true that some of the character models and things like that look PS3-esque. One thing to keep in mind, this game was going to be published on the original Switch along with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and whatnot, which are what's demonstrated here. This is the trailer from the official PlayStation channel that we've got here. But, I mean, you look at the environments, you look at the overall aesthetics and things like that. I think that this studio that was working on the remake was actually doing a pretty good job. And because of kind of lackluster character models that were kind of lower polygon for that time, and this was, of course, Ubisoft was a company that was always renowned for pushing graphical fidelity. You know, like they still do that to this day. I mean, that's one thing that I would say that they still do pretty decently, typically, with some misses here or there. But, like, you know, they usually have pretty good graphics for their games. And I think maybe with, in particular, the character models and everything like that, not looking that great might have been an issue. But even then, in some of the shots that are showing here, they still look pretty good, I would think. I don't know, but
Don't let go!
Quack look him.
okay. So look at that date. Available January 21st, 2020. Remember, this trailer was put out September 10th, 2020. Or I said 2020, 2021. You know what I meant. So they were expecting to launch this game in a matter of 4 months after they debuted this trailer. This game was probably pretty far in development. I mean, there was chance, of course, that it could have been delayed. But we had the really negative fan reaction, and that caused Ubisoft to pump the brakes. And, you know, it kind of sucks. I mean, I'm not putting this on us gamers. This is Ubisoft's fault. But we did play a role in the cancellation of this game. That is something that is undeniable. And honestly, looking back at this, even with the kind of like character models, I would have really loved to play through this again with the higher fidelity and all this stuff, maybe some kind of new content. You know, looked like there might have been some new stuff potentially that they were going to do with this. But instead, we've got nothing. We've got nothing. And look at that date. Like I said, January 21st, 2021. Unless you're watching this video after the fact, guess what today's date is? Yeah, exactly 5 years after this was supposed to come out, the remake got canceled. So they chose a very interesting time period to make these announcements. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's not something that they considered, but I don't know. I don't know. It's been rough. Like, Ubisoft was originally a very good steward of this franchise, and this was one of their top franchises, putting out consistently quality games, just fun, that you can play anytime. These games are still very good to play today. And I might have to revisit Sands of Time. It's been a few years since I last touched this game. And it's a game I like to go back to pretty frequently because, like I said, it is one of my favorite games that Ubisoft has ever put out and that was ever put out during the PlayStation 2 generation. So if you'd ever had a chance to play this game and you want to see what quality platforming action looks like, this game was the template basically for that era. What a loss. What a loss. I'm really pissed off about this, honestly. I'm trying to keep it collected, but well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the last video that I did. That's the one I did before. And of course, don't forget to check out the one in the other corner. That's the algorithm. It's going to send you something fire. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe. That's going to be the last line.